So, what I wanted to do today was just basically talk a bit about you and your self discovery, about your sexuality post, I guess you could say, the transition post top surgery. Um, and I also wanted to know a bit about your decisions about why you chose to not go with bottom surgery, and we'll go into all that. Plus, I have a couple of questions from my readers. Um,
Okay.
does that sound good?
Yeah, so are mainly your readers trans people or all different kinds of people?
They're all different kinds of people. Most of my readers are males, actually. Not sure why. They're males, college age. I am getting a larger trans audience though, and they're making themselves known, which I really like. So I'm making sure to give them the information they need.
So I chose to keep my vagina. Well, I didn't always want to keep my vagina. I wanted to have bottom surgery for many years. I mean, I was taught that to be a man, you need to have a penis, right? So I did research, and I did my top surgery first because that was more important to me, to get my chest done. I just felt like that was something that people could see more, and it just felt really much more odd always to me to have breasts than it ever did really to have my vagina. But as things went on and I had my chest surgery and then I was doing my research for my bottom surgery, I personally could not find anything that was sufficient enough or aesthetically pleasing for me, or that was going to work like a biological man's penis. And you have to understand that this is me. I'm not saying that it's bad if guys want to have the penis surgery. I think it's great for them, but this is my thing, and I really don't particularly care for the way the outcome of it looks. I don't particularly care for how expensive it is. I don't particularly care that they haven't taken the time to really put the time and energy into finding something that can, work like a biological man's penis, and they haven't come that far. So I had to make the decision not to do that because it was not worth it for me to go through all that pain and suffering for something that might not work. And I just felt like it wasn't gonna sort of make me a man. I already felt like a man. So I realized that it was sort of like an enlightening experience for me. Like, I just realized that's not what's gonna make me a man. What makes me a man is what I feel like. And fuck what everybody else thinks. Like, I just was like completely had this epiphany of it's not about them, it's about me. And I have to be okay with my own body and myself. And that's when I sort of just had that awakening and realized that's it. I'm not going to get a penis. I never am going to get a penis. And I sort of wanted to share that with the world and say, like, because if I have a vagina, it does not make me any less of a man. And then it sort of just kind of went from there.
Okay. What do you think brought about this change within yourself, that realization?
I think the fact that I was sort of forced into it. Like, I didn't have a choice. It was sort of like I didn't have a choice to have my sex change operation. I really didn't. It was the choice of either life or death for me. That's how drastic that was for me. And I sort of felt the same with the penis surgery. Like, it's either or. And if I'm not getting what I want, I'm not doing it. And so that sort of, it was sort of pushed in my face, and that was it. I sort of had to just succumb to it and be like, that's the way it is. And not everybody is capable of doing that, and I totally understand. I sort of feel, I feel sort of lucky that I have been able to accept myself so sort of easily. It was hard, but I don't think it was as hard as it happens to be for a lot of other people.
Okay. Where in all of this transformation experience do you feel like you've found your sexuality?
After I realized, well, that's kind of a difficult question. I think that I've always been very in tune to my sexuality, whatever that was. I always kind of felt like I was attracted to women, but I felt like a man. But I couldn't say that I felt like a straight man because I hung out in the gay community and all of that. I can't tell you that I never had sex with men until after my sex change. And so after my sex change, I started feeling much more comfortable in my body. And with the comfortableness of my body and also with the testosterone sort of heightening my sexual awareness of my body, I sort of felt like I had to start experimenting. It's sort of like it's sort of like I didn't have a choice. It's like, when you're a biological guy and you're going through puberty and you wake up every morning with the boner, it was sort of the same way. Like, I just was getting horny with everything I saw and looked at, and it was me in the sense that it made me sort of pursue things that I didn't want to do before because I felt I was going to be judged. But then as the testosterone was making me feel more comfortable in my body and my body was becoming more of what I wanted it to be, I started feeling more in control of my sexuality and being able to experiment with my body. And again, sort of not caring what people thought about me, which is a really kind of powerful thing, not to care what people think of you.
Yeah, it's very, very true. Now, when people think of their bodies, right, they think of, oh, I like this, I don't like it, or I don't like this, I don't like that. What in your new body do you look to and you're like, yo, this is sexy, I like it?
Well, I don't know if I can really answer that. I don't really look at my body and think, like, that's sexy. What I do look at my overall body, and I like the fact that I have sculpted it to look really masculine, I think. It's something that I always wanted to achieve. And one of the things that I always say is, like, Tom of Finland type image of a man, which is a hyper masculine, very muscular, very in shape, he's like the ultimate man, the Tom of Finland man. That has always been my sort of man that I aspired to be. And so I kind of feel like I've maybe gotten there. And so I guess maybe when I look at myself, I'm very happy with the way that I have sculpted my body. If you saw pictures of me before, you would never even imagine that I literally had a female body. And I think now I have a very masculine body. Even with my vagina, I think it's very masculine.
Now, let me ask, how do you reconcile having a vagina and feeling that sense of masculinity? A few of the trans people that I've talked to, they said that they don't quite feel that, they don't quite understand it, and you seem to be embracing it quite well.
Yes, and that was what I was saying before. I feel very lucky in the sense that I have been able to embrace it. I did not have a choice. I guess what you kind of have to say is, okay, what if I was born a little person? There has to be some type in your life where you have to just embrace being a little person, or you're gonna hate yourself for the rest of your life. I can't. I hated myself for so many fucking years. Like, I'm tired of hating myself. Like, I don't want to hate myself anymore. So I think really what I want to tell people is you have to learn to love yourself first, whatever that is. However that is, if you were born with no arms, if you were born a little person, if you were born, it's not easy being an African American. I know that in the world. People look at you weird, or I know that. So you have to embrace that part of your side at some time. I'm sure people act shitty to you or say things to you. There has to be a point where you have to get sick and tired of that and just say, you know what, fuck them. I don't really care what they say about me. It's just my skin color. And for me, it's just my vagina. It's really not that big of an issue. Even though I do make it an issue, but I make it an issue for a reason. I make it an issue because I want people to understand that that's not what makes you a man or a woman. Your genitals have nothing to do with that. And so, because I have to make it an issue, even though it's, for myself, it's really not an issue.
Okay. Now, one of our reader questions, and I lost it. Jesus Christ. Where'd it go? Okay, there it is. Sorry, I scrolled up. Now, this is from a reader named Misty, and she wants to know, does being in porn help you find your sexuality at all?
I think so, but I have to say that I don't think porn is for everybody. And for me, I think because I'm so strong-willed, and I think that it really made me sort of realized that I didn't care what people think about me. When I first started doing my pornography, I got so much hate mail and so many ugly things said to me that it was unbelievable that I'm still here. But I think it made me a stronger person, and I think it did help me to accept my sexuality and my body even more, because by doing my work, it has helped other people. And by helping, I know I've helped thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people become more comfortable in their body, whether that's their sexuality or whether that's their gender. I know that my work has progressed out of pornography, and it's progressed into something more of sort of like a self-acceptance type thing. I like to consider myself a motivational speaker at times, and it's sort of like, you know, so the porn did help me, most definitely, but I'm not sure if it does that for everybody.
Okay. And she also wants to know, is being an educator easier or harder than being in the porn business?
That's a good question. Sometimes it's easier for me to make a porn, and sometimes it's easier for me to sort of go and speak somewhere. I love speaking publicly. I feel very much it's natural for me to do that. Making porn sometimes I think is really difficult because you have to do I do the whole production. I do everything. I film it, I edit it, I put it all out there. It's under my own label, so it's a lot of work. But I love doing it. The outcome is worth all the trouble of putting it together. But I don't know, I can't really compare the two because they're so different, and I really am so happy that I have been able to sort of turn my porn work into educational work, because that's not something that a lot of people in the porn industry, you know, have had the opportunity to do, really.
Yeah. It's also not a thing that I think a lot of them would want to do, per se. But I'm glad you do.
Yeah.